Hi, I'm Ken. This is my first time making a so-called impossible card. I've been intrigued by the name but never understood what was actually impossible about it. However, what I envisioned was that the card would convey that it's a rainy day replaced by a rising sun and rainbow. I will be using the Better Days bundle, which is a special bundle released by Concord the Ninth and designed by Christina Warner for a series of classes at onlinecardcourses.com. This is not one of those courses. Those teachers are so amazing. First, we start by prepping the three panels, starting with the Rainbow Raid stencils. I actually did this muted artistic version, and I also made another more traditional rainbow version. The card ended up with a more quiet muted vibe, so I chose this one you see here. Next, on an A2 panel of Dove Gray cardstock, I used 3 layers of the weathered together stencils for the gloomy clouds. The Dove tone on tone was to give the clouds some texture, the harbor provides some color, and the midnight is to tie it in with the next more dramatic rain panel. Sorry about the motorcycle. On Midnight Cardstock, I used a raindrop stencil also from the Weather Together and pounced white pigment ink on it. Then off camera, I used white embossing powder to complete the panel. Now onto the card itself. It's also an A2 size card. Here is the template. As you can see, we'll be making 3 straight cuts and 1 score line. Then the 3 prep panels will be cut slightly smaller and glued to their assigned area. For our base, let's do the Dove cardstock again. The cutting can be done directly on the trimmer, but to make it clear, I'll make some marks on pencil. We're going to bring them 1.5 inches in from each side, so when marking, just mark at 1.5, 2 3/4, and 4. Now we will cut with the trimmer. Just 3 straight lines. The horizontal line we will score. Make sure you only score in between those two, 1.5 inches. Now let's fold the left panel forward. The edges should line up, and the right panel backwards. Crease well. Changing out filthy sticky mat to a new one. I want to make the effect of the sun rising up from behind the storm clouds. So taking a cloud die from the Weather Together, place the die so it lines up to the top edge of the middle part. We don't want to cut the 2 side panels, so let's tuck the 2 sides underneath the cardstock. That way it won't cut it. Stabilize it with a piece of tape. I want to place the cutting plate only on the upper half of the cloud. Do not go to the bottom or else it'll cut the whole piece off. It should run through very quickly. For the rising sun mechanism, we need a 1/2 inch strip and a 3/4 inch strip. For the stabilizing sleeve, score at 1/2 inch on the push tab and fold. Wrap the 3/4 strip around the tab loosely to create the sleeve, leaving a bit extra to glue onto itself. Cut the rest. The die set includes a circle for the sun. Now let's attach the strip by gluing the folded 1/2 inch, bending down towards the fold on the back of the right side panel. it should stick up midair. We need to cut away the top half of the front wall of this sleeve because if we use the full sleeve, it will block the sun from receding into its hiding position. So we will leave only half of the remaining back part of the sleeve, which we will fold. This is also where we will slide in place and glue it down when the sun is fully in position. With the card unfolded, make a mark where the top of the cloud shape is. That will give us the limit where our sun cannot go past. Cut off this strip and glue on the sun at the top. Now let's slide the sleeve all the way up and glue just the top uncut folded part to the back of the clouds. This mechanism now works in that the sun is hidden when the card is flat, but rises up when the right panel is folded back. Now it's time for our 3 completed panels. We will glue them on, and you can pause to look at the dimensions. Basically, they're in this L and reverse L shape. On the left panel will be the clouds, the right, the rain, and on the back, the rainbow. For the later on the rainbow piece, you'll need to account for the sun mechanism, so that's taking off an extra ½ inch. The sentiment says easier each day. I doubled up the foam tape to make it the easier pop out a little bit more. So now, after the rain comes the rainbow. So I think this card is called Impossible because of how, with simply 3 cuts and 1 score line, it tricks your eye to see an additional floating section in the middle that seems impossible with making it out of 1 piece of paper. And I decided to push that illusion further by adding the rising sun, and later with bridging the 2 gaps with die-cut clouds. The clouds can also be tucked under to hold the card in open position. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for stopping by and have a great day.